Good morning and welcome to another edition of Inside Oakwood with Dr. Leslie Pollard. He has special guests today live with us. You can join us on Facebook at Praise 90.1 FM WJOU. If you want to be a part of the discussion and ask questions and leave your comments. Our guest today with Dr. Leslie Pollard is Dr. Dana Wilchombe and Miss Jessica Dudley. Welcome, Dr. Pollard, to you, and good morning on this snowy morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Donna. Good morning. And good morning to our listening audience. I mean, it's hard to believe if you're in one of the sunnier parts of the South, like maybe down in Florida and some other places, it's actually snowing in Huntsville this morning. And that's delightful to see. Of course, having lived for 7 years, Donna, in Michigan, and you up north in the Northeast, they would laugh at us because this will probably shut our city down.
Right.
Right. They would laugh at us when they talk about 8, 9, 10, 12 inches of snow. So, but again, it's snowing and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see. What I love about it is that scientists tell us that each snowflake is individualized and different from every other snowflake.
Mm.
And so is every child.
That's right.
And the way right, segue. And
Great
so
one.
is every child. And the way children learn is different. But there is a common denominator to that learning in general, barring some physical impediment or incapability. And that's the ability to read. I was just thinking this morning, Donna, as I'm reading the book of Revelation again, and how many times the book of Revelation reminds us that we have to read the word, we have to read the prophecies, we have to read. And so in some ways, really growing in your Christian faith requires two things. It requires the ability to hear, because faith comes by hearing, right? And hearing by the word of God. So there's the ability to hear. Now we can connect to that in many different ways, right? We can connect that in many different ways. If one is deaf, there are ways to connect to that. And the other is the ability to read, meaning that to individualize the content and to internalize it. And do I sound too philosophical, Dr. Dana?
Not at all. Not at all.
Individualize and then internalize the content of the word of God in order to grow robust and strong in our faith. So that's why reading is so important. That's why hearing is so important. Reading and hearing of the word of God. And then, of course, in life, the ability to navigate a society requires literacy. We have Oakwood, for many of our guests don't know, Oakwood was founded on a former slave plantation. And we know that one of the prohibitions, one of the sanctions against slaves was a punishment for teaching them to read. There's something about reading that's liberating, right? That liberates the mind and liberates the imagination, probably more important. So this morning, as I think about that, I think about the word, I think about the book of Revelation, I think about Habakkuk chapter 2:20. The vision is for an appointed time, but it will come. And God says, let him run that readeth it. So again, that's what we're talking about today. And I'm excited about this because this is right down the wheel well of education. It's just exciting today. Exciting.
I just admire pastors who can always come up with just the right scripture. I'm trying and I'm praying. That's my prayer. I can be better.
Well, God is good. We all give him the glory. We should give him the glory.
Amen. So Dr. Pollard, that's a great segue into what we're talking about today, which is the Literacy Factory, which is on our campus of Oakwood University. So we're going to hear from Dr. Dana Wilchombe now, because we know that literacy is very important, and it's in a critical state, I guess you can almost say, in the state of Alabama, knowing that we're the 12th lowest with regard to literacy, and illiterate. And it says who are functionally illiterate. So that's a pretty, that's not a ranking that we would like to have. But how has this fact impacted your work at the Literacy Factory, Dr. Wilchombe?
I think that for us at the Literacy Factory, that information gives us an opportunity to structure some targeted, intentional pop demographics. When we get that kind of research, it is exciting because now we know what we can do to make a difference. And We look at the needs of our community, and as servants, our goal is to meet the needs of our community. And when we know that our community is struggling in a particular area, that's where Oakwood just steps up and makes that difference. And that's what the Literacy Factory is doing in our community.
So give us a little background on the Literacy Factory, because I'm sure there are some people listening now who this is their first time hearing about it. Tell them when it all began, and what are some of the what is your purpose and mission?
Well, I'm always so excited to talk about the Literacy Factory, as you know. But the Literacy Factory started in 2015. I have an amazing dean, Dr. James Imbier Cura. And when I first arrived at Oakwood, I was so excited about starting a literacy program because I knew that there were needs in our community. And when I arrived in 2014, the fall of 2014, by the spring of 2015, the Literacy Factory was up and running. What I decided to do at that time was to attach it to one of my courses, one of my senior level courses, where students had to have work directly with students in the community, analyze where students are, and create individualized programs for them based on their interests and their learner profile. So that's how the literacy program really started. And from this point up to now, I think we're at year 6, we've serviced over 100 students in the Huntsville communities. And some students have, in 10 weeks' time,
Mm.
made significant academic improvement.
Wow, 10
And we
weeks.
also provide parent workshops, many parent workshops to support parents as well. So I'm excited about it. It's the most exciting thing that's happening in the education department. And the students benefit because they get to work with students one on one
Mhm. Now
for
you're
free.
doing such phenomenal work there, and since you mentioned that you have workshops, you have a shop coming up really soon, right? That people can register for.
Yeah, well, the start date is February the 3rd, and we're asking you to sign up by email by January the 27th.
Mhm.
And my email is dwilchcombe@oakwood.edu.
Mhm. Now, this Literacy Factory virtual program is a 10-week
It's
workout,
10 week.
right?
And as a result of COVID, we are able to launch it online, which is even better because we may be able to service more people and we don't have to worry about all of the movement. So we've been able to translate all of what we did on ground online. And I'm excited about what's going to
Wow.
happen with
Wow.
that.
And that's free, did you say?
It is 100% free.
What? Wow.
Isn't that a tremendous community
Wow.
service? Isn't that a
Yes.
tremendous community service?
And there are other
The last time
organizations
I
that
heard,
are charging $50 an hour to meet with students
wow,
Wow.
wow.
in the local community. We are absolutely free.
Free.
Amen.
Dr.
Amen. And
Pollard.
as you know, Donna, one of the things we're building is our community health action clinic. And I haven't spoken with Dr. Dana yet, but I'm sure we can. It'll be planted right in the middle of the community. If we need a physical site, that would be the perfect location because,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I think that's a part of the design for the center to be able to impact our community in ways that are meaningful and valued by the community. I'm just so excited
Mhm,
about this. Thank you so
mhm,
much, Dr. Wilchcombe, for
Wow.
bringing that concept to the university
Mhm.
and for executing it. And we have parents who are being blessed by it, right? We have parents
mhm.
who are just very, very grateful, Donna, very grateful.
And we have a parent with us to talk about her testimony. And I guess, well, I'm not gonna give anything away. We're gonna welcome Jessica Dudley to the discussion at this moment because she is a parent and her children. How many children do you have, Jessica?
I have 3 children.
Okay, and you have been taking advantage of the Literacy Factory and all the programs and services that are available. Can you share with us a little bit how that came to be first?
Absolutely. So I have 3 children, and my children have been in the program for 3 years now. And every year in the spring, they attend the program after school. And it has been such a blessing. They talk about in the program that, your child, whatever reading level your child is on, They tell you that, I've been told by Dr. Wilchombe, that they should be able to read above, at least one grade level above where they are by the time they finish the 10-week program. And I am a witness that all three of my children have been able to read more actually than one level above where they are. I have a fifth grader right now, and we had all three of them tested over the summer. And my fifth grader is actually reading on an 11th grade level right now, from what her professor told us that did the testing for her. So I am a living witness that this program actually does work. It's a short 10 weeks, but it really does make a difference. And actually all of my children have progressed very nicely in this program. And I would love for anyone, to put your kid in this program if you can.
So now the progress that you saw in your children, because they've been there, well, I don't know if all of them have been there 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
All of them
Yes.
have done 3. Wow.
Yes.
So the first year, what was that like? And what was the progress that you saw that first year and gradually up to the third year now, as you've already kind of explained a little bit?
Yeah. So the first year I was there, I had a kindergartner. And he went into kindergarten not reading at all.
Mm-hmm.
He knew his letters, but he did not know how to, phonetically break down words. And so therefore, of course, we put him into the program, and the students there at Oakwood would work with them every week, for the 10 weeks. And literally by the time we ended the program, my son was along, and I believe along with his teacher and everything, but he was able to read by the end of his kindergarten year.
Wow.
And I was just amazed because I literally did not, I can't even really take the credit, to be perfectly honest. He was not reading, but by the end of the program, he was reading. And then I think the other thing is they would come after school, they would meet with their individual tutorer. And that was also lovely too, because it was like 10 kids in the class. It was like maybe 1 or 2, mostly just 1. And it was like a one-on-one type thing. So they were able to really give my child the attention that they needed in order to help them read. It's also helped my kids to develop a love for reading. Now they really do love to read. And so that's really been a huge blessing.
Wow. Dr. Wilchombe, I got to address something that's going through my mind right now. As a child, I was challenged with reading, and then my son had reading problems as well. And I want to say that I'm thankful that we have the literacy program in the Adventist Church now here at Oakwood University, because it was not available when I was coming through school. And I had to go to other organizations in the city to get the help that I needed. Well, that's where my parents, I think it was the Lutheran church that I had to go to get some assistance. So your program is really competitive, and with these other organizations that are offering these programs. And how do you compare yourself and the success of your program with your students with others?
Well, I think that when I look at what the teacher candidates at Oakwood University can do, they are famed all over the city because of the quality of the service that they provide in our local schools. Our students are trained, and remember, we have the biblical foundation. So we have that added spark that
Yes.
other students and other organizations don't have. So we bring something more to the table. And I think it's important to recognize that we're using senior level students. Our teachers are trained, they are certified, they are background checked, and they are well prepared with research to complete their task. Everything that they're doing is research based, it's not random. And they are actually practicing what they are learning in their existing program. So our program is very different. And not only that, the students also do parent workshops, and they also do mini workshops before they meet with students to prepare for their classes. So yeah, we have expertise, and we have highly qualified teacher candidates working with our students in the
Now,
community.
I have to mention, I said the Lutheran Church, but I also went to Alabama A&M University, because they were only organization in the city that had such a program for students that were, well, I shouldn't say the only, but that's where I went, Alabama A&M and then the Lutheran Church. But so the students that are at Oakwood University, they have an opportunity to also assist with helping you implement your program with the students that are enrolled.
Yes.
Okay, and tell us how they, what they're doing and how they can use their skills that they learn working through the Literacy Factory transfer into their careers.
Well, we teach our teacher candidates to start looking at learner profile, looking at student interest, right? And what Jessica's talking about is we do a bunch of diagnostics before we actually provide instruction. They have to learn the student's learning style, their interest, where their levels are in both reading and reading words and reading comprehension. And then we build a program based on the need of the student. We gather evidence and then we form a program. That's what makes our program very effective. And we do pre-testing and we do post-testing. In fact, I'm gathering the data to do research, to present my research on the findings of this program. And we are finding that students are affected. We're finding that boys in third grade do very well in this program. We had one student go 4 grades in 10 weeks. So
Wow.
we're finding some amazing results, and it translates into the teacher candidate's classroom when they become a teacher
Okay.
because they have something to, they've actually implemented what they learned in real time and they can transfer that into the classroom.
Wow. So Jessica,
Oh,
can you
wow.
speak to how your children started and how they got engaged, and were they really excited about starting it at first? And what was their attitude and mood about it? Because we've talked about how Dr. Wilchombe is making sure that it's engaging and fun and enjoyable.
Well, initially, anything that kind of has to do with school, they're just, it was an after school type program. And so initially they were just kind of like, oh, we don't really want to go to something else. However, once they got there and they saw how engaging it was, they loved it. Matter of fact, I told them that they're going to be doing it virtually. And I thought, oh, they may not be really interested. And they are super excited about it.
Wow.
Yes, so they are ready for it to begin because they like that one-on-one attention that they get, and they love how they help them to really understand what they're reading. They let them read to them, and then they kind of explain what the story is about and kind of get the main idea. And so it's kind of like reading comprehension, even as well as they're going through the literacy part of the program. So they really love that.
Wow. Wow. Well, Dr. Wilchombe, can you talk about how many students have come through this program so far? What's the enrollment look like over the years?
Well, normally we have about 20 students a semester because what we don't want to do is make it so big that we neglect the individual need. So I try to pair students up, teacher candidates up with students that match the grade levels they want to work with. But we serviced over 100 students in the community. Our goal is to create critical thinkers and self-regulated learners. Like we give them enough skills and strategies that they can figure things out on their own and they can get there in 10 weeks if they have that intentional support.
Wow. So, Dr. Pollard, I know you feel good about the university offering such a wonderful, valuable program to the community.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When we think about all of the things that are important to a community, sometimes we could actually overlook the fact that reading plays such a critical role. I read a statistic the other day by another group called the Literacy Foundation. Dr. Wilson mentioned research.
Mhm.
In their research on prison populations, they found that 85% of the prisoners could not read. Now that's fact. That was a 2017 study. Now, okay, so for the academics among us, we know that correlation is not causation, right? So one doesn't necessarily
Right.
cause the other. But it is important to recognize that this is a very stunning statistic that if we've got a population who is incarcerated, and 85% in this study could not read, could it be that a key to liberating their minds for new possibilities beyond a life that would lead them to prison would be reading as the gate, as the door opener? And again, reading becomes very, very important once again. I think we have something here that is just remarkable. And as I listen to Dr. Wilchombe, I'm impressed that, the notion that once you take it virtually, you also take it like international, right? So to take it
Oh,
virtual
yeah.
means it goes international. So then, of course, now you've got the crush of all the persons who want to participate, and we have to think through the infrastructure. So
Mhm.
those are some of the things that I was thinking as she was talking, because this is an idea whose time has come. It really is. So many of our young people. I made some notes for some families that I know that
Yeah.
need to be in this program, that need to be in this program. You know, down just a personal experience growing up in New Orleans, especially during the time I grew up when we were still in the last vestiges of the segregated South. We didn't have access to playgrounds and all those things were whites only. But there was one thing they did, they being the city fathers, one thing they did in our neighborhood. Every summer, they would send through our neighborhood a bookmobile. I don't know, people may not even
Yes.
remember that, but a bookmobile. And you could check out books across that 13 weeks. And that was one of the things I did when I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old.
Wow.
And I found that even though I was there vouchsafed in the segregated South, I could also be in Paris and I could be in London and I could be in all these places because of reading. And reading is just such a phenomenal gift.
Wow.
And what a blessing that we have employees like Dana who's willing to say, this gift is too good to keep to ourselves and to share it with the rest of the community.
That's amazing. So tell us again, as we get ready to go out and close, Dr. Wilchombe, about this program that's coming up that you say is free, the 10-week workshop that you're offering free online. Tell us a little bit more and go in detail about that.
Well, our start date is February the 3rd, and we want you to sign up by January the 27th. And we're going to go from February 3rd to April 7th. Now, we do take priority with our former parents like Jessica to make sure that they're lined up and in place. But we always have a waiting list. And so it's important that you sign up right away. My email address is dwilchcombe@oakwood.edu or literacyfactory7@gmail. And just go ahead and sign up and give me your student's name and age. And so then we could begin to partner them with a suitable partner or tutor.
Okay, now since this is available online and free through Zoom, and that means anybody can get access to it if they get that ID. So what is the age? Do you have an age limit on who
It's
can?
K through 12.
Okay, so it's K-12 only. Okay, all right. So we have a comment. Do we have from Dr. Let's see. We do have some comments coming in from online. People are watching. So Dr. Wilchombe, you offer an outlet, and I can barely see it, or program for a young child who are, can you read that, Dr. Wilchombe? Because I cannot see that.
Oh, wait a
I
second.
can read it. Oh, no
Okay.
problem. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Wilson, do you offer an outlet? This comes from Cheryl Morton Jessup, one of our viewers, and one of our viewers. So, do you offer an outlet or program for a young child who is an avid reader and who has been tested and have excelled in reading and comprehension well above their grade level, to keep that love of reading motivated? So I paraphrased a little bit of it, but that's what she's saying. Do you
Oh,
offer an
absolutely.
outlet? Yeah,
Our
for
goal
the
is,
exceptional reader already, for the child who's an exceptional reader already.
oh,
Do we-
absolutely. Because what we do is we look at their existing grade level. And no matter what grade level you're on, you could be in the 2nd grade and be on the 8th grade level. Our goal is still to get you to 10th grade.
Mhm.
So of course, we want students to excel. And of course, in our program, our goal is that every student makes incremental change.
Okay.
Our goal is 2 grade levels. So if a young student who's an avid reader is at a 5th grade level, our goal is to have her 7th grade level in 10 weeks.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. So it's not just for individuals who are struggling with reading and trying to get up to grade levels, for those who are where they should be and they want to expand and go to a higher level.
And there's students like Jessica's children who have excelled so much. And so we wouldn't want to push those students out of the program. We want to keep those families forever. And we have some forever families with us in our program. And we're just going to keep pushing forward because I just like to see where this is going to go. I'd like to see little Ace reading on a 5th grade level, 8th grade level in 10 weeks. This is a joy of mine. And I like to see how when you do things according to the spirit of prophecy, because the book of education tells us the format. So when we follow the format, we get the results. And that's what we're doing at the Literacy Factory.
Wow, praise God. Dr. Pollard, this is amazing work that we're
Oh
doing.
my goodness, you should see the chat room. So many things are coming in. We've got Lois Peters, who is one of the trustees of our university, Trustee Peters, loving what Oakwood is doing for the young ones to get them ahead and in line for the university. Got Lewis Jones, thank God for the bookmobile. 10-week miracles at Oakwood.
10-week
Sylvester
miracles.
Jones. And Sylvester Jones wants to know, is this open to adults? But I heard you say K through 12. I heard you say K through 12.
Not at this time, but I would really like to get into some adult learning as well. Yeah.
But you know, Dana, I'm just thinking, you know, one of the things that's been voted just recently was the Pell eligibility for inmates in this last federal budget. So we could look at even doing some kind of literacy training even within prisons, because again, it can be done remotely, right?
Now,
So
I
we've got
have worked
wonderful
independently with
opportunities.
GED students who are trying
Yes,
to get
yes,
their
yes.
GED, and we've been successful. So I do work in that area, but my goal is those third grade boys. I just want them to get over the hump and make movement,
I
make
know.
make the difference.
Man, I just wish my son could have been here for that, because he definitely needed that. That's just a wonderful, wonderful blessing that we're able to access that and make it available to the community as well. All right, Dr. Pollard, I think that's it. Any final words you want to make or comments?
I want to thank Dr. Wilchombe. I want to thank our parent. I want to thank Jessica, Ms. Dudley. Thank you so much for entrusting your treasure to our program. I thank you for that. Whenever parents make that commitment, I think we have to thank them. And we thank them for the partnership that comes once that commitment is made. So with that in mind, the Literacy Factory is an idea whose time has come. We want to promote it and encourage it and invite parents to please take advantage of one more resource that the university provides in order to make sure that the lives of our students are successful and a blessing to many. So that's what we're doing. And again, thank you so much, colleagues, and thank you, ladies, for what you have done and what you are doing. Dr. Wilchombe, continue the great leadership of this great project.
And thank you so much. This has been Inside Oakwood with Dr. Leslie Pollard and special guests. We look forward to being with you again on Thursday. Y'all have a great day.